Just hit a button, Morty, give me a beat!
Oh man, okay, alright,
How could Chelsea line up tactically next season? If you're looking for cheap, good quality football jerseys, then go over to www.jerseyfever.com where you can get the new season's jerseys from just $25, and they even have retro jerseys as well. A link will be left in the description and you can use the coupon code ATLANTISFOOTBALL to get 5% off. I have also started a fantasy football league. The pin will be on screen now, so you can use that to join the league on the official Fantasy Football Premier League app. So this will be the second part to my first video where I compared Chelsea's new signings to the players that Chelsea had last season in those positions, looking at if they would be improvements. I was also looking at how Chelsea set up tactically last season. That video will be linked in the description below, so make sure you check out that video after this one. So from the first video I talked about Lampard's preferred systems being the 4-3-3 and the 3-4-3, but how will these new signings fit into those systems, and will there be any tactical alterations? Well, Lampard's primary system seems like it will be the 4-3-3 shape, and in this system THIAGO Silva will slot into a centre back position alongside one of either Zouma or Rudiger to start the season. I did say in my previous video that Rudiger is Chelsea's best centre back other than THIAGO Silva, although all four of Chelsea centre backs last season did have their faults. I think Christensen is the worst of the bunch. He's positionally poor, especially when he needs to drop off or position himself correctly to stop a pass in behind him. He isn't assertive in the tackle or in the air and reminds me a lot of Lindelof in many ways, but I don't think he's as good. Zouma and Tomori both seem erratic in their defending when it comes to their positioning, clearances and tackling inside of the box, and Zouma in particular does lack the positional awareness to deal with incoming crosses whipped in close to the goal. Although I do think alongside a better leader with more composure than Rudiger, I think they would both look a lot better. The reason I say Rudiger is the best is because even though we do see him make positional mistakes on the occasion, this often comes from when the opposition are running straight at the Chelsea backline due to lack of protection in the midfield. He has to make a split second decision about whether to confront the player with the ball or drop off. The starting spot alongside THIAGO Silva is going to be between Zouma and Rudiger, and I would say I'd start with Rudiger as I think he'd be better suited to playing the role of a covering centre-back, allowing THIAGO Silva to play more as a front foot stopper centre-back, though Tomori and Zouma would come into the back line at times, especially when Chelsea shift to a back three. With Rudiger and THIAGO Silva at centre-back, Lampard now has two ball-playing centre-backs who are composed on the ball and are excellent at playing more direct, vertical passes into the forward players between the lines. A quick reminder to give this video a like if you enjoyed the video and watch another one of my videos after this one, as it will help the channel in the YouTube algorithm and therefore help the channel to grow. I have some Chelsea related videos up on the screen which will be linked in my Chelsea playlist, which you can find in the playlist section on my channel or linked in the description. Jorginho will continue to play the role of a regista, and I think Lampard will continue to use Kovacic as a deep line playmaker, dropping deeper than the other central midfielder in front of Jorginho in order to aid with the build-up. HAVERTZ will come into Mount's role in that midfield three and will be tasked with sitting higher up the pitch between the lines of the opposition system. I think that Chelsea's fullbacks will be major assets in possession, providing the width in the system and allowing ZIYECH and Pulisic to move in field into the half space when the space is created. This gives Chelsea a 3-4-2-1 possession shape at times. They would also move to a 2-2-5-1 shape as Jorginho and Kovacic play as deep line midfielders, the fullbacks advance and HAVERTZ, ZIYECH and Pulisic look to float between the lines. What will be interesting is how TIMO WERNER is deployed up front. As I spoke about in the first part, which you should watch after this video, Lampard used Abraham and Giroud in very different ways last season. Giroud was used more as a deep line forward who would drop deep from the forward line and link the attack, whereas Abraham played more as an advanced forward, sitting on the last defender and looking to make runs in behind the back line. Werner will play a lot more like Abraham than Giroud, however we will see him pulling out wide into that left sided channel and making runs in behind the back line from this position, as this is where his pace and movement was so effective for RB Leipzig. This should work well alongside Pulisic on that left side, as when the American moves in field, he'll likely drag the fullback narrow as well, leaving space in the channel for Werner to make a run into. If the opposition right back decides to hold his position to stop Werner being able to make that run, then Pulisic has space to move into and is free to receive the ball in the half space. HAVERTZ should also benefit from this movement from Werner. With Werner pulling out to the left, this is going to leave space centrally for HAVERTZ to make runs into from deep positions, which was something that he excelled at Leverkusen. As the centre-backs get stretched apart due to Werner's movement wide, HAVERTZ should be able to use his intelligence and awareness to make runs into goal-scoring positions, which could lead to him playing a similar role that Dele Alli thrived in his early Tottenham career, playing as a second striker playmaker hybrid. I am expecting ZIYECH to be Chelsea's key player in the attacking phase a lot more than HAVERTZ. ZIYECH's creative numbers have been amongst the best in Europe, which I detailed in my first video. If I was Lampard, I'd give him a free roll and a licence to roam not just in field into the right sided half space, but all across the midfield line. This in turn will allow HAVERTZ to move further up the pitch and give Chelsea a fluid free in behind WERNER. Having Giroud and Abraham also gives Lampard the option of shifting WERNER to a wide starting position and having either of those two as a more central focal point when Chelsea are struggling to retain possession in the opposition's defensive third and there isn't much space in behind the back line. I did speak about Chelsea's weaknesses last season in my previous Chelsea video, with the centre back and left back areas being improved with new signings, and it looks like they are on the verge of bringing in EDOUARD Mendy from Rennes, who definitely would be an improvement in the shot stopping department compared to Kepa if nothing else. However, Chelsea's central midfield defensive issues could still be prominent unless Lampard adapts his tactics in specific games. Jorginho is definitely more of a creative player than a destroyer, excellent at progressing the ball forward when in possession, but when left to cover the ground in central midfield, against a quick transition in attack he often struggles. However, Jorginho is a very good reader of the game, allowing him to make a lot of interceptions, which is useful higher up the pitch in an aggressive press. This is why rather than having him sit in a deeper position when Lampard's side press high up the pitch, I would have him pushed further forward as the most advanced central midfielder when Lampard's pressing shape moves from a 4-5-1 to a 4-4-2. I went over Lampard's tactics specifically in my last video, so make sure you check that out after this video. It will be at the top of the description. When the opposition side beats the press, Chelsea can drop into a compact 4-5-1 to protect Jorginho in the centre of the pitch, but pushing Jorginho further forward as a main presser from midfield should mean that he isn't left isolated in the centre of the field if the opposition side beat the press, and that can be left to the more athletic Kai Havertz and the better one-on-one defender Mateo Kovacic. Throughout the season, Lampard is going to have to use Kante in midfield to fully cover these defensive issues, and that could be at the base of the midfield playing as an anchorman, or to the right of a midfield three playing as a ball winner. In the 3-4-3 shape, I think Lampard should be using a back three of THIAGO Silva centrally, Rudiger to the left and Azpilicueta to the right, as the two wide centre backs have the ball playing ability of fullbacks, being able to move forward with the ball and play forward passes. This is what Azpilicueta and Rudiger would bring, with both defenders being very good one-on-one defenders as well, which is important. In the midfield too, I would have N'Golo Kante partnered alongside either Jorginho or Kovacic, as I feel that in these sorts of games, usually games where Chelsea do not have a lot of the ball often and sit deep, but they do need a more industrious central midfielder to cover the ground and break up the play, which wouldn't be there in a midfield double pivot of Jorginho and Kovacic, even though they did have success in this system last season. Reece James could thrive in the right wing back position, and on the left side I think this could be where Alonso and Chilwell alternate, with Alonso being used as a more offensive option when needed. In the front three, I would actually use Werner as a left sided forward, having Giroud or Havertz as a deep line forward whose job it would be to drop deep from the forward line and link the attack, whilst either Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi or Ziyech could start from the right. I think this front three would work incredibly well, as Werner would be the main counter-attacking threat with his pace down the left-sided channel, meaning that Chelsea can sit deep and compact, and when the ball is won, look to transition the attack quickly by getting a direct pass into Giroud or Havertz in the centre-forward position to link the play before trying to exploit the opposition's right-back's advanced positioning by having Werner racing down the left flank and in behind the back line, looking to isolate the centre-back in a one-on-one. So overall, these new signings are going to improve Chelsea pretty much everywhere they had weaknesses last season. In Ziyech and Werner, Lampard has brought in a world-class creator and a world-class goalscorer who fit the system perfectly. Havertz, Thiago Silva, Mendy and Chilwell are all improvements on what Chelsea had in those positions last season, and Lampard still has the likes of Giroud, Abraham, Alonso, Zuma, Kante, Hudson-Odoi and Mount, who can come into the side when a different tactical approach is needed, which is something that I would say only Manchester City have in their squad at the moment, with Liverpool running mostly off their world-class front three and United having barely any strength in depth beyond their starting 11. This is why I think we should expect Chelsea to be competing for the title this season. If you are wondering where I think Chelsea will finish, subscribe to the channel and click the bell, because I will be releasing a season predictions video shortly. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that video, remember to give it a like, subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you get notified when my videos come out. Also check out some of my other videos linked in the description below and on the playlist section on my channel. And for cheap, good quality football jerseys, click the link in the description and use the coupon code ATLANTISFOOTBALL for 5% off.